Hello, this is Nathan on Shuffle. We've got the start of a new series. This is called New Music Shuffle, where I'm going to talk about some new albums that have come out that have gained some attention from me, that I really like, and that I really want to share. So I have a few albums here that I would like to talk about, and hopefully you'll check these out. I'm going to provide links in the description for where you can look these bands up, more information, where you could buy their music. So hopefully you'll find something of interest here that you'll will want to check out. That's the hope here, that I can share some new music with you to show you that there is great music being made right now, and I'm really excited to talk about it. So let's delve in to some music.
And I could hear you in another world, and I will see you in another world.
First album I'd like to talk about is Lifesigns' new album, Altitude. This is a fantastic symphonic neo-prog type album that came out about a month or so ago, I think in March 2021. This is John Young, who's kind of a familiar name in the prog sphere. He did a lot in the genre, even back in the 80s and so forth. And he's helmed this project called Lifesigns, which this is their third studio album, and it's quite a fantastic album. It's really, really amazing. Every track is really strong. It sounds really beautiful and angelic, and reaches such beautiful heights. There's just, to me, what really stands out is just how meticulously composed it is. It just feels like everything's set into its right place and was really thought through, and it's just really fantastically made, and it sounds really great. It's produced really well, and so it just sounds very professional, and like everyone is just really on the top of their game, as the musicianship is just stellar on this album. So it's really a strong recommendation. It's one of the best prog albums of the year, I think. And it starts out with one of the most beautiful tracks, Altitude, the title track. It's just so beautiful and just has so much going for it in the soundscape. Just travels through a lot of different moods. The ending section, In Another World, is just totally fantastic. Just totally just beautiful, majestic heights, kind of like Yes at their majestic best. Some excellent guitar soloing by Dave Bainbridge, just a fantastic player, and gives some incredible solos in this album. And I love, one of my highlights is actually Shoreline, which kind of introduces some jazzy type sections into it. It's very jazzy and cool in its approach. There's a lot of great keyboards even throughout the entire album, just some great sounds, and it really complements the album really well. And I really love also Last One Home. Towards the end is just a killer ballad with an incredible extended guitar solo at the end that's just really out of this world. So all in all, just a fantastic album that deserves to be heard. Has a lot of inspiration from Genesis and Yes and those classic artists, but also kind of a tinge of maybe 80s kind of neo-prog to the mix as well, and it just blends into a fantastic thing. Great lyrics, great writing, just really beautiful and highly recommended. I think it's one of the best things prog is offering right now, so I recommend it. The next album I'd like to talk about is No Air by the band Perfect Storm.
Out of heart, searching all to be a fire.
This is a new band. I believe this is their debut album. The band's from the Netherlands, and this album came out earlier, I believe in January 2021. But I've been recently listening to it based on some recommendations I've seen online, and I just think this is totally a fantastic album. It really is like a breath of fresh air. It's just really well made, well crafted, great sound. I love the sound of this. It's kind of unique to me in what I listen to, because it's not really over the top prog in that sense. It's kind of more of an AOR melodic rock kind of feel. Maybe even gives me some sort of like maybe Toto vibes in certain sections. But they do get into some cool instrumental sections that do bring some of that proggier element to it. And so I really love those sections. I think that really elevates all these tracks. And one of the key components to this group to me is the vocalist. I think he's fantastic. I think there might be a couple of vocalists, but one of the kind of main standout vocalist who kind of reminds me of the lead singer of Leprous in some sense. I mean, their sound isn't very much like Leprous, but he has this kind of quality about his voice that's just really, really beautiful, and I really enjoy the sound of it. I think he does a lot of great things with his voice. So there's also some female vocals on the album that are absolutely beautiful as well. The title track, No Air, is definitely a highlight. Beautiful, atmospheric, ethereal, just really beautiful, and definitely something to check out, if nothing else. That title track, just haunting melodies, beautiful vocals, almost a jazzy vibe and feel to it. I love kind of the opening rocker. It's called Strength. Definitely a strong track. I really love what they do there with Strength. There's a great proggy-ish instrumental like partway through it. Super cool. They have some grooviness to their sound. Just a lot of great elements that combine to make something really, really special. And to think this is their debut and they're already, hitting it out of the park like they are on this album, just gives me a lot of hope for the genre and gives me a lot of hope that they'll continue on and do a lot of great things. And I'm excited to see what they come up with next. If this is kind of their baseline, where do they go from here? And it's exciting to kind of see their growth and where it's going to lead them. So I'm really excited to see that. So that is No Air by Perfect Storm. Highly recommended as well. Just super excellent album and really a great start for a really promising young band. Another album recommendation to get into here. I really love this album. It's kind of a unique one on my list to talk about, but I really fell in love with it just for its diversity and the different sounds that you hear on it. And the album is called Archetype, Asylum by Exodus to Infinity.
You need me to assess you. Without me, you'd be such a bore. Don't be so vain, I never possess you. That's what your fragile ego is for.
And really, it's a multi-instrumentalist who's doing all the music here, which is absolutely crazy to imagine that it's one guy, because it's such a diverse record with so many different sounds and styles thrown in the mix. It's just really off the wall crazy in sections and just really throws everything but the kitchen sink into the mix. Got to give credit to Danny Mulligan, who's the one behind this. Just a real talent to look out for. I hope he continues to do things like this because it's really fantastic and just sounds really well. I'm really surprised at how well the production sounds and how it just has such great sonic quality to it. I think there's a lot of potential here with this. It starts off with, just to give you an idea of kind of the different styles and things at play, it starts out with a song called King Other, which is just like Zappa-esque, crazy instrumental stuff going all which ways, almost kind of a cartoony kind of vibe in sections. It reminds me a little bit of like a Danny Elfman score. Just really everything is being thrown at the wall here. It's just really diverse and crazy. And then you move on to Shadow Self, which is like, starts out with some almost rap style vocals, but then moves into this funky kind of vibe, kind of a funk prog mashup with some progressive metal thrown in the mix. Just one of my highlights. I really love that track. The Body, the Drive, and the Dreamer is like blues rock to start out, and then kind of molds into more of a traditional, what you kind of expect maybe from a modern prog rock type vibe. Plaza Thursday is like throwback, 30s, 40s kind of sound, doo-wop almost, but done in kind of a modern fashion in a weird way. Trickster is total progressive or power, even power metal kind of track, just really metallic and really heavy and just hits you hard really fast. Right Now is like a disco pop tune, which is really out of left field, but it really fits for me on this album. It's a track that comes up and just gives me a huge smile because it's so different and so creative on this kind of a progressive album. And then it ends with Second Innocence, which kind of begins with your typical prog type ballad, but morphs into a lot of different things throughout the ending sections. Some jazzy interludes, some almost EDM electronica inspired stuff right towards the tail end, and just ends with sweeping majesty that you'd expect from a big prog epic. So it's just everything's thrown in there. Danny Mulligan kind of reminds me of the spirit of like a Frank Zappa or Devin Townsend, where they're just throwing everything out there. They're super supremely creative and just don't really care about restrictions in terms of genres and things like that, and just do what feels right and just creates things that are very, extremely creative and expressive, and just has a lot going on for it, a lot to unpack and a lot to uncover. So really recommend this. I haven't heard many people talk about it. Of course, I came across it from some, prog review sites and things, but I wish it was talked about more because I think it's a really strong album that should be heard by a lot of people. I think it has a lot of potential, and he has a lot of potential as an artist. I can't wait to see where he heads with this music. Just really fantastic album. So those are 3 albums that I think are really strong recommendations. 3 new albums that I've really been enjoying, that have come out since the beginning of this year in 2021. So really think that there's some prime prog there to uncover. Altitude by Lifesigns, No Air by Perfect Storm, and then Archetype Asylum by Exodus to Infinity. 3 diverse, creative albums that are strong recommendations. So please check those out. And so this has been an installment of New Music Shuffle. Hope that you've enjoyed it and that you're going to check out some of this music. And so as always, subscribe if you like what I'm doing here, and follow me on any of my social media found in the description, and just enjoy the music. And I hope you guys all have a great day. Thanks.